What's going on, arcade nerds? It's about 3 in the morning, and I'm out here in the garage again, screwing around. And today I have a project. And I figured I'd just turn a camera on while I do that. So a while ago, I bought some radiator hose. Now, not that there's anything wrong with this radiator hose. The only difference is this radiator hose is purple. And so I just wanted to put some more purple on this engine just because. Now, since we're putting more purple on the engine, these hoses, that opens up a whole nother project that I plan to do on this. And that is install an electric water pump. Now, I had the electric water pump for a while, but I've never put on, but I didn't get these radiator hose till now. I did not want to cut the hose and make it fit this and then be short later on when I want to install the electric water pump. So, my wife and I, whenever we see something purple, well, mostly me, whenever we see something purple that can somehow be crammed somewhere on the car, I usually pick it up, you know. So there's purple here, there's purple here. I don't know why, but there's purple here, there's purple here, there's purple there, here, there, purple where, everywhere. And so, I don't know, I need things to do. I need to have excuses to work on this car because I enjoy playing with this car. So anyways, I guess what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to find something arcade related also tonight, but my main goal is to put an electric water pump right here and put a purple radiator hose. And I was thinking about, as of a few hours ago, I looked up radiator hoses and custom whatever on the internet. And some of these guys have a polycarbonate tube. And that way, and if I cut it right here, and you can see the fluid flowing through. And so, that sounds kind of cool. And of course, they make purple radiator fluid. So I may do that. And it's funny because before I got this car, I would have made fun of it because, oh, dude, that's kind of weird. Dude's all got purple everything, and now it's growing on me so much that I'm looking for the next purple to put on this thing, and it's grown on me. I like it. Okay, so let me get out this. I guess first things first, I'm going to drain this fluid out of the radiator.
Ow! That came out of my penis!
Okay, so now the fluid's drained out. Now to take off this hose. So, why would I want to put an electric water pump on this thing? Well, there's a couple reasons, and to some people, either of them might not be the greatest reason. But let me explain. So, when you are going down the drag strip, and your car is pulling 6,500 RPM, it might take 4 full horsepower, to turn a mechanical water pump. And the thing is, you only need the water to just barely trickle through this thing. You don't have to have this thing flowing water like crazy to keep it cool. Just a little trickle flowing through this thing will keep it cool. Trickle by comparison. And so, an electric water pump circulates the water kind of like this would, like at 1,000 RPM, just above idle. Just gives a little bit of circulation. And it'll always spin the same speed no matter what. So it might take, who knows, I'm just guessing, but let's say a third of a horsepower from the alternator. So for every 1 horsepower, 746 watts. So if it takes 1/3 of a horsepower, it would take, a third of 746. So it'd take less power from the engine, in other words, to spin an electric water pump. Also, let's say you're overheating, but you want this thing to cool down. So let's say you're at the track and you do a pass and you look down, you're like, oh shit, I'm like 240 degrees or something. Well, turn the engine off, by all means, and flip the switch and let the water pump cool it down. So, in other words, this won't work unless the engine's spinning, but electric one will cool the engine down whenever you want. Now, another interesting thing, one thing that I did recently, boy, I'm saying nonsense, because I'm trying to work and talk at the same time. Anyways, what I mean to say is I also bought an alternator bracket to move the alternator from the firewall onto the block. But that brings in a few issues all on its own. So the heads on this motor are called Camel hump heads. So Kelly, show these heads. Now, normally on these engines, there will be bolt holes. There'll be holes that you can thread in bolts, and you can run accessories and so on. Well, these specific heads were called Camel hump heads. They were the bare minimum. They were made by General Motors way back in the day for racing purposes and so on. And they weren't worried about you running an air conditioner or something like that. So the problem is most brackets need these bolts, need bolt holes here. Now, by the way, just because these were fancy heads back in the day doesn't actually mean these are good high-end heads today. For example, later on, General Motors made the heads, the Vortec heads. Those flowed better. Now they make all kinds of crazy aftermarket heads that flow even better. But and I hope to change this entire engine out to something else, because this is not my ideal engine. This is maybe 350 horsepower. Before, the most I've run is a 200 shot of nitrous. So the most I've ever gone down on the drag strip was 550-ish horsepower. And I would like to start at 550 before nitrous even, So, and you can't just add as much nitrous as you want because of the ring gap and so on. This engine wasn't built to handle more than 150, 200 shot of nitrous. So anyways, after me babbling, let me find some razor blades, and I'm going to remove this gasket material. Okay, so this is now early morning the next day. I realized that the water pump does not clear the 8-inch harmonic balancer. So this piece was up here, which would make the hose literally just touching the harmonic balancer. I didn't like that idea. So there's two different ways to fix it. A few different ways to fix it. It makes spacers. I could have made the water pump further away from the block, which would have kind of been goofy looking. I could have got a 6.5 to 7-inch harmonic balancer. There's no reason to do that. Or I could just simply put extra piece of black pipe right there, or galvanized. So that moved this piece from here way out to here. And so that moved, the harmonic balancer is still here in the same spot, but it moved the thick spot away. So that's what that's looking like there. And so I guess I'm going to go ahead and bolt this sucker on. So while I was out getting that piece of pipe, I picked up some engine enamel. This engine is actually nicely painted, except for right around here, right where you're going to see it, you know. So I figure I will clean this up with some brake parts cleaner, remove as much oil as possible, and I will go ahead and touch that up a little bit with some engine enamel. Okay, so I got a half-assed masking going on here. I'm just going to dust it a little bit. Ain't going to take much. I'm already happy with that. I'm going to take off the masking real quick and get some acetone. If I screwed up anywhere, I'm just going to go ahead and wipe it off while it's still wet. Now, I already know someone's going to tell me, Jason, you sprayed on the gasket mating surfaces. And yeah, I know a lot of people say that, but I've never had any trouble with putting a gasket over paint and having it leak. So, you know what? I don't care. If it leaks, so what? I'll fix it later. But okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and let's do this real quick and see if I can acetone any paint overspray I find. Okay, looks pretty good. I didn't have to actually wipe anything off. There was no overspray. Just kind of worked. I mean, I don't care. This is just fine. You know, this motor's not going to be here forever. I mean, I hope to get one more season out of it, and that's it. I'd like to get a bigger, better, faster motor. Okay, so now I'm going to try to get this on. See, when I got these hoses, there's no such thing as like a, I mean, well, there could be, but I didn't see anything. Purple hose for a small block Chevy. So what I did is I got a hose for a 77, 76 Corvette. Why? Because I happen to have a 77 and a 76 Corvette. And it just kind of eyeballed it, and it looked like it might look good. It looked like it might fit. I don't know. So these hoses don't exactly fit perfectly, but hey, it's gonna work. No, that's the lower hose. Now I gotta get this one on.
That came out of my penis!
So recently, I got a speeding ticket in the mail. It said I was going 31 in a school zone. It's clearly my car, you can't deny. But I thought to myself, man, I don't remember doing that. Usually I'm very observant of speed limits and so on. I'm the guy that's usually going the speed limit. Well, everyone has to go around me, but whatever. And I said, well, if they say that's what happened, that must be what happened. And so my wife says, I don't know. She says, I want to look this up on Google Maps. And so she looked up this road. And if you can see, this road has yellow lines, right? So she looked up on Google Maps, and she found that entire street only has one spot with yellow lines. So my car was right here, and here's the camera taking a picture of me. Okay? And so she says, where's the school around here? I don't see a school. So then she zoomed out and seen that right here is the place I was recorded, and right here is the end of the school zone. Therefore, I traveled about 100 yards outside the school zone, and at this point, I was going 31 and a 35. So I was not speeding, and I was not even in a school zone. So anyways, I went to court yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? One or the other. And it's kind of funny. As we go into court, well, first we went into this room, and the judge walked in, and she said, "Now I want to let you guys know that if you think you're going to get out of a camera ticket, think again. We have our officers check these cameras 3 times daily, and so on, and we know where they're at, and everything's legit, and so on." So she says, anyways, we were all there because we all asked for a trial and pleaded innocent for the traffic tickets. And so I'm sitting there, and this lawyer, or whatever you call him, prosecutor, whatever he is, was taking us all out one at a time. And we can all see right outside the door what's going on. And what would happen is, oh, and by the way, the judge said, well, since you guys decided to fight this, now you have to pay an additional $150 court costs on top of your fine. And the judge actually said, well, maybe next time you'll just pay it, or something to that effect. And I was kind of pissed, like, wow, you're not even going to give us a chance. We're all just guilty, huh? No matter what. But hey, I guess the cameras don't lie, do they? So, anyways, so it comes my turn. Everyone is losing their cases. It comes to my turn, and I show the prosecutor this paper, and I show him this paper, and so on, and I says, how are you going to get me for speeding when I'm not even in a school zone, let alone speeding at all? And at first, he was writing me off, and eventually I explained it over and over, and he goes, oh, wait a minute, okay, well, we're going to try to dismiss this. And I says, okay. So we go in front of the judge, and the judge says, oh, let me see that paper. And the lawyer guy shows her the paper, and she says, well, what about, there's a college around here. What about the college? And I says, is there a school? Is there some sort of posted speed limit when college kids get out? It says, if so, why would this not be posted? And she dropped the whole idea of the college. That made no sense to me, that she decided to make up some sort of excuse to see if it would stick. At least that's the way I seen it. Anyways, was found innocent, or however you call it. It was dismissed. Just thought that was an interesting story, because what bothered me was the mentality when I walked in that courtroom, and the attitude of the judge and the people there, and it just upset me. So I just wanted to share that 2-cent story, because it sort of goes with this video. I mean, hey, that's my car, and that's what happened in. So remember when I said I didn't actually have a proper hose for this? Well, if you notice here, I got a fitting right, connected 2 different pieces of the hose together so I can get this on. But that's totally fine. I'm okay with this. The reason why is because I'm going to cut this top hose anyways. And the reason why I'm going to cut this top hose is this section from, let's say, here to here. I'm going to put a polycarbonate tube. It's going to be clear, and just for looks, just so I can see the radiator fluid flowing through it. So everything's mounted. I don't remember if I got distracted. A buddy of mine brought over a dig dug, and my wife went to discharge it, and she didn't realize it was on. So she went to, or did you try to discharge it, or you just grabbed the anode cup?
I was gonna discharge it.
Huh?
Discharge it.
Okay. Anyways, so she went to discharge it, and she didn't realize it was on. And Magically, at the same time she did that, the RAM died. So somehow some loose, crazy, stray, transient voltage reached the RAM, and she killed his dig dug board. And here it is. This is a revision B dig dug PCB, and anyways, now it says RAM error, but the revision B version, I'm not sure online which RAM it is, because they changed the layout of the board. Anyways, it says RAM error, and I felt bad that he brought his game over for us to look at, and Kelly just looked at it for a second, and so I felt bad. I says, hey, I have another dig dug board. I just gave him another dig dug board. By the way, it wasn't a parts matching board, so I just gave him another board, and I'll fix this for myself later at some point. But so anyways, I don't remember. Sorry. Oh yeah, and then he brought over another game, and we got that. It's sitting in my garage or my driveway. That's a tubin. We got that working. We're waiting for him to go back home with the dig dug and then come back and pick up the tubin. Anyways, I got sidetracked and I forgot where I left off. Did I end the video already? I don't remember. So yeah. So anyways, this was cut, and I bought on Amazon. It'll be here Monday. Oh, I did talk about this. I think I ended the video, didn't I?
I don't know if you ended it or not.
I don't remember.
No, you have to go back.
Okay, I guess I'm losing my mind here. So, so anyways, I guess I'm gonna call that. Oh, last thing we did was I wired up the pump. That's what he did. So there's this white wire. There's already an existing sheath here, and we added an extra white wire all the way down to the pump here, and it turns on when you turn on the accessory. It's actually connected to the under here there is a fuse box. It's connected to the accessory, not accessory, what's it called? Heater / air conditioner. So it goes through a 30 amp fuse and goes through there, and only turns on automatically when you turn the key on. And I guess that's it. All right, guys. Oh, of course, the keys aren't in it. Oh, but they're in my pocket. I can't see. I'm trying to get into it without opening the door, because I'm smart. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that. You know what? I'm going to turn off. Okay, so that's on. You can probably hear it now. Can you hear it? So I guess that's it for now. I'm tired. Going to bed. Well, I'd like to go to bed, but I gotta go to a buddy of mine's graduation party. Oh, one of my sons graduated. No, I'm sorry. It's not a graduation party. My son's gonna have a graduation party soon, but he's leaving. The other kid's leaving for college. We're gonna go to a party. Anyways, I'm tired. I'm babbling. Have a good one, guys. Please subscribe. You know, I'll make the next one more arcade related. I know people like to see arcade stuff. You know, did you know I made a Datsun 280 Zap arcade machine? How cool, right? See? Arcade related. Done. Have a good one.